Irish guy, and yeah, it's official. You've all been Grealished. I mean, for all the English fans out there, just admit it. When Jamal Musiala decided to chuck his England underage caps into a fat dustbin and declare for Germany, you probably all reacted to this bombshell news as if, I don't know, your mum's just told you she's bought a new brand of toilet paper. Yeah, nobody really cared. I bet you all care now. I mean, this wasn't exactly going to keep you awake at night, because honestly, the world bangs on about England's exciting crop of talent coming through. On Wednesday night, it looked like Rio Ferdinand was 2 minutes away from predicting that Jude Bellingham would end his career with 7 Ballon d'Ors. But lads, arguably, the greatest talent to come through the English youth system in the last 10 years is German, and not your player anymore. Listen, Phil Foden is the jewel in England's crown right now. To me, that kid is a sickeningly good footballer, but lads, Jamal Musiala is the German Foden. How sick must Chelsea fans feel right now? They had this child in their academy for 8 years. The boy was going to school in Croydon, probably swapping Pokemon cards at lunch, and debating with his mates on which was his favourite side man. I'm guessing only the nerds like Vicstar. But look, Liverpool want to sign Musiala, and I will touch on him later in the video, but lads, first, allow me the chance to gloat about England losing a player. We lost Grealish. Yeah, Musiala is better than Grealish. This guy moved to England in 2010 when he was 7, purely because his mum was studying a 4-month Erasmus at Southampton University, and so naturally he was put in the academy. Lads, back then the Saints were in League 1, but still all the talk was about how Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was coming through as a teenage superstar. Yes, I know he grew up to have more England caps than Michael Carrick, which, I'm sorry, is a disgrace. But if only people knew, if only everyone knew that, just forget this lump of custard pie. The player with the highest ceiling of that club in 2010 was some scrawny 7-year-old who couldn't speak English and was probably still weeing the bed. And if he was anything like my family, he'd have been breastfed until he was 12. But yeah, apparently down on the south coast he met Levi Colwill. They've also got the same birthday, and so yeah, probably used to squabble over who got the bigger cake. But lad, this is crucial. Having English childhood mates like Colwill, that is what forced Jamal to pick England. Lads, back in January 2011, this is what Musiala's coach at Southampton said on Facebook.
Saints may be signing a player who is so talented, and I'm confident enough to say he will be a professional footballer one day at the age of 7 years old. If you were going to sell the club to him and stop him going elsewhere, what would you say to him and his family?
Yeah, the coach wound up being right, but he probably hoped that this little boy would be the next Alan Lallana, not the youngest Bayern Munich baller. But lads, he's played for England under 15s, England under 16s, England under 17s, and England under 21s. He was given 2 caps for Germany under 16s in 2018, yes, but still, he was just telling the German coaches that he wanted to play for England. But lads, you've been Grealish. This guy is 19 years old and rated as the 4th best prospect in world football. But if anyone is to blame for this, it's Chelsea. Once Musiala establishes himself as one of the world's best footballers for Bayern Munich and Germany, then the England matchday goers can, feel like making the bus trip from Wembley to Stamford Bridge, solely to hurl their own poo at the windows of the club shop. Chelsea ruined it. Right now, Chelsea's homegrown midfield diamond is Mason Mount, right? I guess, but trust me, trust me, if Musiala had just stayed in West London, then right now, Mount would probably be playing for Everton, just living in some 3-star Scouse B&B, where he just gets fed undercooked bacon sandwiches for lunch, with the weird landlady choosing to sniff his shoes while he sleeps. Lads, Musiala left Chelsea at the complete wrong time. It was July 2019. He was 60 years old, but don't forget, the club had just been slapped with a transfer ban. Yeah, sure, otherwise, of course, I would tell Chelsea youngsters to get out! For them, wasting their early 20s at Stamford Bridge, and that was about as safe as telling trick-or-treaters to knock on Jeffrey Dahmer's door. Lads, not only is it a club who kicked Declan Rice out the door, but also, unforgivably, Kevin De Bruyne. Come on! Before the transfer ban, Chelsea children could have walked into Coburn with a scrotum shaped in their hair, and they still weren't getting noticed. But, in 2019, it was all coming together. Suddenly, the Chelsea coaches were forced to talk to the kids. That's the only reason they hired Frank Lampard, because he was a bit of a Derby County Willy Wonka. Lads, back then, the club were even prioritising a teenage talent like Billy Gilmore, when in reality, he's not as exciting as a tofu pie. He's just gonna grow up to be the next Joe Allen. The guy with nearly 300 games for Stoke. Someone so hideously boring, even listening to him sneeze would send you to sleep. But lads, Chelsea, back in 2019, just like at the Neverland Ranch, The doors are open for the kids. I mean, I'm guessing Eddie and Kenny was sick to his teeth that he'd already quit the club. Because lads, even he would have had a chance to impress under Lampard. You know why Musiala quit Chelsea though? It's because the club poked the beast. And now I'm not talking about tickling Susan Boyle. No, they enraged Bayern Munich. I mean, remember how Bayern kept trying to buy Callum Hudson-Odoi? I mean, they just wouldn't take no for an answer. And then it all just seemed to go quiet. They seemed to just concede defeat, right? I mean, back in 2019, the Bavarian president looked like he was ready to let a giraffe bite off his knob if it guaranteed this transfer. Lads, they bid 4 times for Hudson-Odoi in 2019 alone. It was an obsession. They even got to a point where they were offering £70 million. Chelsea, if you had just taken the money, they might then have left you alone. I mean, just sanction the deal. Let Hudson-Odoi move to Germany, and then let them find out for themselves that actually, he's just a lightweight bag of flour with the end product toilet bleach. Honestly, we all know his next move is to someone like Leicester City, but at the signing Musiala, that just seemed to be out of spite. It's a bit like repeatedly asking someone out on a date, and they keep saying no, and so alright then. You just return to their house only to steal their dog. I mean, yeah, they call the police, sure. But I mean, I don't really think Officer Fred is going to be breaking his back to rescue Mittens. And similarly, in 2019, there was radio silence amongst the Chelsea fans. They didn't really care that Jamal had gone. Well, fast forward 4 years, and now both Musiala and Hudson-Odoi, childhood friends by the way, are both in the Bundesliga. I mean, one of them is seen as one of the best youngsters in world football, while the other one stuffed in a relegation battle being coached by Xabi Alonso. I mean, Bayern got their claws in Musiala, when he was already a fully fledged England under-21 international, by the way. I mean, this fella was just teammates with Dwight McNeil and Oliver Skipp, some English kid who was probably watching the X Factor and eating lunch at Wetherspoons. I mean, let's be real, he wasn't exactly drinking cans of Stella in a bush. I mean, while he was in West London, he enrolled in a chess club. He's a nerd! But now, German superstar. 1 minute he was going to be the next Paul Scholes. Now he's Mesut Ozil. So yeah, blame Chelsea for letting this one slip through the net. They allowed Germany to steal it. Aussie Gareth Southgate already lost a useful baller like Wilfred Zaha to the Ivory Coast, but this kid is the real deal. And instead of Zaha, who's just a meal deal. You know, someone whose entire career is just being a big fish in a small pond. You know, the modern day Matt Letitia. No. Musiala is a future £200 million footballer. Honestly, lads, just look at the England under-15 team in 2016. He was playing alongside Fabio Carvalho. Ah, what a relief. It's not just Ireland whose underage teams are just used as a set of training wheels. I mean, to be fair though, if Carvalho was still English, would he really get a game? I mean, he's a decent player, yeah. But I mean, he's probably just the next Luis Garcia, right? A Liverpool cult hero with the odd wonder goal. But I mean, his international career with Spain lasted 3 years. Forget Xavi and Iniesta. Even the likes of Cesc Fabregas or Santi Cazorla would have made him look like he had the first touch of a brick. There are levels to this. But England fans, I will offer you a hypothetical trade. Right now, you'd probably all gladly eat a raw steak to guarantee Musiala in an England shirt. Well, here's a question then. Would you happily have let Jack Grealish spend his career representing Ireland if it meant Musiala was playing for England? I mean, come on, why not? I mean, I asked this question on Twitter, and 80% of you would have took this trade. Is it too late to make it happen? But lads, how did the English FA allow Musiala to board that plane to Germany without a fuss? Honestly, the FA chairman should have been waiting to kidnap him in the duty free. What efforts did Gareth do to convince him to remain English? I mean, Musiala said the Southgate once visited his school and got a selfie with him. Is that it? He left it too late to convince Zaha to stay. And similarly with Musiala, youngsters just want to feel wanted. He should have been sprinting through Heathrow Airport, jumping over barriers, knocking over old ladies in prams. You know, as if this was a Hugh Grant rom-com. He could have met Musiala at the terminal and begged him not to get on the plane. You know, like a mixture of Love Actually and the Friends finale. Maybe then you'd be going into a World Cup with a mouth-watering attacking pair of Foden and Musiala. I'm sorry, but those quick feet, oh, delicious. Anyway, right now, apparently Liverpool want to buy Musiala. I mean, that's what the papers are saying, and I'm sorry, but how confusing for the boy. Most people spend their teenage years worried about the pressures of school, acne, and debating whether or not it's okay to fancy the hole in the fridge. I mean, my uncle used to debate over whether or not it was okay to fancy Hermione. No! You're 53! But Musiala, he had two of the most powerful countries in the world squabbling over his passport. That that is teenage pressure. I mean, imagine asking a 15-year-old child to choose between the England and German FA. So imagine if you pull him back to Liverpool after just 3 years at Bayern. Oh, suddenly he's living in Liverpool and joining the little teenage Instagram group with Harvey Elliott and Fabio Carvalho, his former England teammates. Ozzy, he's going to have such mixed, confused feelings, right? Ozzy, he's already said no to England. It's done. Musiala doesn't need the headache. But listen, let's get it right. This would be the perfect signing for Liverpool. Liverpool fans will never admit this, but come on. The fact that they're watching their former academy superstar scoring goals in the blue of Chelsea, it makes them feel sick. They'll never admit it, but lads, come on. Raheem Sterling was arguably the most exciting Liverpool teenage talent since Michael Owen. And so now, to eventually wind up seeing him play for Chelsea, oh, it will hurt. So go on, get your own back now and make a former Chelsea Academy superstar. We all know that Liverpool have apparently been obsessing over Jude Bellingham for months. And yes, listen, he would be a brilliant signing, of course. But I think Musiala fits you better. I mean, it looks like Jurgen Klopp is trialing a new 4-2-3-1 formation. And if that is the case, then Musiala slots perfectly into that number 10 role, buzzing around like a little creative bee behind Darwin Núñez. I mean, listen, he won't be cheap. He's got 3.5 years left in his deal, but he earns on £84,000 a week. He earns a little more than Eric Choupo-Moting. He's the 16th highest paid player in that squad. I mean, both he and Sadio Mane are former Southampton boys, right? Yeah, Mane earns 4 times his pay packet. But Musiala is about to explode. Honestly, last season, he recorded 8 goals and 6 assists in 40 matches. So far this season, 7 goals and 6 assists in 12 games. He is more mobile than Ozil, more of a flair player dribbler, but in terms of numbers, his stats are better than what Ozil was producing in the Bundesliga in his teens. And then at 21, Ozil was getting 23 assists in a season for Werder Bremen. And the following season, it was 29 assists and 10 goals. And then he moved to Real Madrid in 2010, and then weirdly, it was an identical season. 29 assists and 10 goals. And then the following season it was 7 goals and 28 assists, then 10 goals and 24 assists. Those were sickening levels of consistency. But I reckon that's what Musiala's about to do. I mean, lads, forget the fact that he's a washed up turkey burger in Istanbul. Ozil still has 220 career assists and 114 goals. That's insane! Borussia Dortmund will quote about £150 million for Jude Bellingham, right? Well, go for Musiala. Ditch Jude for Jamal. Let Man City throw the bag at Bellingham. To be fair, I reckon he'd probably prefer a move to Etihad anyway. But Bayern never really demand huge fees. Lads, they already sold Thiago Alcantara to Liverpool for £19 million. Burnley asked for more for Chris Wood. Robert Lewandowski is Bayern's record sale, £40 million. They've never ever received a £50 million paycheck in their lives. So why not Liverpool? Why not throw in a cheeky £65 million bid in January and offer the kid a pay packet of £180,000 a week on par with Trent Alexander-Arnold? I mean, why not? I mean, that's how much you pay Diogo Jota. I mean, he only had to leave Wolves. Lads, how did Jota negotiate that much? Was he really ever going to turn down a move to Anfield to stay at Molineux and just be the Portuguese Kenny Miller? No! How did his agent manage to blag him such a fat wage? But listen, go get Musiala. I know, why would he want to leave Bayern? But you never know, if Julian Nagelsmann gets sacked. And soon they wind up with Thomas Tuchel. I mean, don't forget, Musiala is mates with Hudson-Odoi, and I don't think he liked Tommy all that much. And since Jurgen Klopp got the Liverpool job, Bayern have gone through 7 managers. It's an unstable club. I mean, to be fair, they're probably still devastated they're only able to hang on to Pep Guardiola for just 3 seasons. Ozzy, you forget he was ever there. Liverpool is the stable club. So you never know. But one thing is for certain, Liverpool, you definitely need to try. Although, to be fair, you've already got someone called Musialowski, some Polish midfielder in the youth team. Bit weird that, but no, go out there and buy Musiala. Not only will you be signing a future world star, but the very sight of him in a Liverpool shirt will cause Chelsea fans to swallow their own sick. Anyways, for what do you think? Let me know in the comments where do you think Musiala will go? What do you think about him? Let me know in the comments below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.